And good afternoon, Buffaloes Nation. Welcome into another edition of the Buffaloes podcast here on G Show Productions. We're into episode 21 here in season 3. We got a great lineup of guests for you today. A couple of players from the U18 male prep program, which had themselves a huge weekend down in Montreal, Quebec, competing against teams in the East West Challenge. We'll reveal those guests. Well, I guess you've already seen them. It's going to be Knox, Burton, and Adam Courchesne joining the show. Knox had himself a huge weekend. Adam himself has been pretty solid this season, too, spending a lot of time beforehand in the CSSHL with Edge for the past few seasons of his career. But to start things off, Gordie Tumilson is going to be joining the show to break down the U18's past weekend of action, as well as all the other teams that play games in the academy. And then we're also going to touch on the recruiting side as well, the challenges that it may bring for a program like Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. That's all coming up next on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast on your home for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy content, G Show Productions. Gordie Tumilson joining the show next. Gordie Tumilson here to talk about all things Buffaloes on the Buffaloes podcast. Starting off with the U18 male preps, Gordie. They went to Quebec this past weekend and made some noise. Started off 2-0. Overall, a really solid weekend, and they took down the 1 seed in Stansted College in their second game. Lots to like from this past weekend, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. In fact, it was a really good weekend for two of our teams, and then close games for the other ones. But in the meantime, oh yeah, the U18 male guys knocked off an equal seed to them. They were seeded 13th out of 14, so we were well down the list. Won that first game handily, beating a team that was again seeded along with us, sort of at the bottom, and then went out and beat Stansted College, which was seeded number one in this first ever East-West Challenge. And so, our guys proved that yeah, they're getting better, and the whole group of them is, and they were led by the goalies and Knox Burton in particular. He had a great weekend. This guy has come from Winnipeg, and he's just taken charge of what's gone on out there. He's a leading scorer. He's just kind of just found his way. He didn't go to RHA. He was supposed to, or he was there last year. In the meantime, he came to us, and we're going to have him on the podcast along with one of the other guys that was there, and that'll be great to hear from him too. So, yeah, great weekend for our U18 guys to travel to Montreal and show those folks out there just what the West is made of.
Always huge when you're able to pull off quite an upset like that, right? Like a 13th seed defeating a 1 seed and doing this before playoff time. I mean, showing, like you said, this team continuing to get better and better. How huge is that, taking into account that this team is able to pick up maybe their biggest one of the season right near playoff time, heading into it to
Oh,
build that confidence?
that's huge. When you're playing against the same teams out west all the time, and so you kind of know where you fit. And then you play against somebody else and they go, well, they're the number one seed in the friggin' whole program here. And in the tournament anyway, I know they're the number one seed throughout the league, but certainly in the tournament. And you knock them off and you play really well in the other games. That's just, augurs well for your confidence, for who you are. And the work that you put in, it means something to everybody that what you did works. It's just kind of like proof. You get proof that your hard work and the coaches are correct, and if you do the right stuff and you live the right way and you blah blah blah, it's just it just makes everybody feel good about what they've done and looking forward to the future, what they might be able to do in upsetting some other teams that may be a little bit cocky and don't realize that these guys have come a long way in their development. So good on our U18 guys to show us proud in Quebec.
Like you mentioned, a huge weekend for Knox Burton as he has 45 points in 33 total games this season. Can't wait to hear from him coming up later on this show. But as for the U18s, they're not going to be back in action until the 27th. So lots of time to sit on this, but in the meantime, continuing to get better through practice and in preparation is a big goal for this team, I assume.
Sure, it's you come back and it's a long trip. I mean, you left early, you fly out there, fly back, and a lot of hockey over 4 days, and you're tired, and you got to go to school, and you got laundry to do. This is all that maturing, being an independent person now. And so thank cripes there's somebody there to cook your meals for you, but everything else is on you, and you got to get back into your fitness routine. So there's a little more sleep involved, a little bit this and that. And so when the league does this, they recognize that the players, are going to be tired, and they value their, their health and their sleep and whatnot. So good on our guys to have a weekend off. They'll go at it pretty hard at practice after a day or two off, and then get right back into it. They've got 3 weeks, I think, the playoffs, and so no time for lollygagging anymore. You got to get going and get your game back up to that level so that you can upset some more people down the road.
Well, unless there's anything scheduled in between, they won't be back in action until the 27th, so
Right.
a 20-day break or around there. But a couple weeks at that, as
Yeah.
they'll be taking on RHA Winnipeg coming up next on the 27th. Taking a look at the other teams in the academy that were in action. February 7th and 8th, so Saturday, Sunday, the 17 male preps, Gordie, they were in action down at Blackjack Stewart Arena as they're there for the rest of the regular season until playoffs, but they took on Knox and OHA Edmonton. Take us through how that
2 wins. You
went.
17 guys knocked off the big shots. Oh, that'll be upsetting to the people in Alberta. That's okay. They get to lose once in a while too. And our goalies were unbelievable. Two young guys that I had a touch base with a couple of years ago, and they got started at Pilot Mound as U15 guys. Yuki Kito and Gavin Hildebrand both stood their ground. Both made more than 50 saves in their 2 games, game each. And in fact, at Gavin, they had 90 shots at Gavin towards the net, and only hit him 55 times, I guess, or 51 because they scored four, but they won the hockey game 5-4 in the shootout, and good on them. And then Yuki came back the next day and beat OHA, same deal. So, way to go, our team, battling all the way, scoring some goals, being able to score goals against teams that are really good is not easy because they back check too. They're not just giving up plays, but those kinds of teams tend to have a little bit more offense and don't think defense. Their coaches
Right.
won't be happy with them. Our coaches will be pleased with our guys, and particularly pleased with our two goalies. So good on them. And I should mention this: Yuki Kito has just come back from Japan. He had just come. He was in Japan playing for his national U18 team.
All right on.
So, so
Yeah.
and so there you go. Here's a guy that showed up. This augurs well for our program in total, but certainly our goalie program. Our goalie program, I've helped develop that back, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and we worked hard at it. And Colin Vapor is keeping it going along with others, and way to go. And we got a kid comes from Japan who had played a little bit, I guess, in Michigan prior to coming. The parents lived there for a while. Anyway, they moved back to Japan. Now he's with us, and he's been a young guy that confidence-wise hasn't been at the top end of his day, but he seems to slip a little bit and then come back up, but he's right now on a roll, and boy, I'm glad for him. And Gavin's been absolutely rock solid for a year now, so it's been great to see it. So Rick and Danny, the coaches, have been happy to have those two guys around for the most part, and playing really well for their team. So they give them a chance to win every night, and a lot of times they do. And this past weekend they did.
Shout out to Yuki Hito on all his success. We'll
Yeah.
dive more into that later on. I will myself. We're gonna talk about many other things, Gordy, so won't really have time for that. But depth by scoring, it came through huge by committee as there were a plethora of different goal scorers for Pilot Mound this past weekend. Finished off strong in the third against Knox, and then obviously able to have a huge second period against OHA Edmonton in that game to put them down 4-3 heading into that third period. And when you're able to beat teams that are ahead of you in the standings. And like you said, that those Alberta teams, always nice when small town Pilot Mound, Manitoba is able to prove their stuff.
Absolutely. You know, you work hard all the time, just like our U18 guys. All our teams do. I mean, they really do. And you know, talent-wise, we may not be at the top of the league's point there, but we certainly are in energy and work ethic and trying hard and getting better. And so, yeah, the kids battle hard, and sometimes they get rewarded. And boy, that's a bonus. You know, that to be rewarded at this late time of the season against those kinds of teams. You know, and it helps the other team too, you know, because sometimes those guys get cocky and they think that they've got, you know, they're just going to come in and walk over top of some of the lower teams in the division. Not so. And so that's always sending a message, which is sometimes too bad. You don't catch them off guard later on. But at the end of the day, it's good to keep everybody that keeps the balance of the league good, makes our kids feel better, make our coaches feel better, and again, makes them realize that their work does pay off at the end.
And they'll be right back to work coming up on Saturday, Valentine's Day against RHA Winnipeg, looking to break their hearts then, Gordie
Uh,
and Blackjack Stewart Arena.
That's a
We'll
tough
go
one.
in, will be, but I mean, always nice to see those rivals going at it and can't wait
Sure.
to see what happens in that one. But as for the male U15s, Gordy, the youngest team in the academy, they were in action once against RHA Winnipeg, looking, of course, to get back into the win column for the first time in CSSHL action. A pretty decent weekend against Saha. The weekend or 2 weeks ago before that game, talked to U15s heading into it. They were fired up. How'd that one game go? I'm realizing that none of the scores have been posted on the website, which I usually go off of. So letting you take
Yeah,
the lead on that.
sometimes that gets a little bit delayed. We don't have a million people working for us. We don't have the Winnipeg Jets staff. They got a
Fair
lot of
enough.
people.
Fair enough.
We got a couple people. Anyway, you lost 7-4. Had a good game. It was a closer game than that, but RHA is really good, and we know that. So to be that, you know, within three, goalies had to play well. They did. You know, they're getting a workout, and so our team played as good as we can, I think. And RHA again is a juggernaut in that particular division. So they get a lot of kids coming out of Winnipeg that just are the top end AAA kids that want to, you know, they've got the cash and they've got the skill and the desire to move forward. It's a pretty daunting thing to have to beat that group when you're in Pilot Mound. But nonetheless, we give it a whirl and came close, and good on us. By the way, I get all my stuff off. You can get it off Facebook, or I get it all off Twitter. I'm on a nice friendly Twitter account that has Pilot Mound on it, so I get all of my scores and all of my updates there. So I'm not trying to promote Twitter, but I am promoting the fact that there are other places to find this info. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
As well
there
as
you go.
on the CSSHL's website. And of
There you
course,
go.
yeah, Pilot Mound
Absolutely.
always posts the scores. But
Yep.
um, looking at the score of how this game rolled out, I mean, it would be easy to just give up, right? Being down 6-2, but Pilot Mound's
Yep.
able to finish off with 2 goals in the third period,
Yep.
outscoring RHA and keeping the shots a lot closer. So I feel like that says a lot about this group too. We've talked about it before, but their resiliency, like all the teams in the academy.
Yeah, no give up. That's the important part. They know they're in tough, and why give up? And keeping in mind too that the people watching either on Flow TV or on in the house, the scouts, the people that care about these kids, they're watching every player. They're not just watching the RHA guys. They know we've got good players too. We just don't have as many. So, you know, so you're getting an opportunity to show your skill level and do your thing. And guess what? So why give up? Score some goals, work hard. Scouts love that. Scouts love the fact that the goalies don't give up, that the players on the losing team don't give up. They don't like it when the guys on the winning team give up. They don't like it when the guys take it easy.
Right.
They see that's a fault. That's something that the kids should not develop. They should, you know, keep working hard, put the other team away and all that. And no one likes to lose by a lot, but the winning team shouldn't be backing off, and they do, and that's not a good trait because sometimes that ends up in an upset because you're playing against other teams, not just Pilot Mound in this case. So yeah, you got to watch yourself when you're on that winning side, but the losing side, good for them to keep their chin up and battle hard.
And for the U15s, they have themselves a busy weekend coming up, going
Yes.
down to Thunder Bay.
Yep.
The tournament center is the name of the arena, apparently. That's basic, but keep it simple, right? And Pilot Mountain looking to keep it simple. This weekend coming up, looking to play their game against a bunch of different opponents. As for the U18 female preps, Gordy, the only team we haven't talked about at this point, as they went down a little road trip to take on different teams in Saha and the Edge in Alberta. And although it didn't go how they had hoped, going up against two really good programs at the end of the day.
Yeah, it signals good programs in Alberta again with these two teams. And yeah, we and our goal scoring is non-existent, and we're our recruiting department is we're struggling to get in touch with all kinds of people and get them up to Pilot Mountain. It seems like we struggled the last couple of years to capture enough good goal scoring people to kind of make it work. And so what we're getting is defensive type players, but the puck is on our end too much, and we just can't muster much offense, and that means we're not in the other end hardly at all. Too many shots, too many good plays, too many good players in the other team. For some reason, we're not able to attract as many of the good girl players. And in Manitoba, we have a really good AAA program. And so the Ice Avros and Polar People and all those guys, they're really good, and they keep their players and keep them happy, and it costs less, et cetera, et cetera. So we're not afforded that opportunity, whereas in Alberta and BC, we find that their AAA programs aren't as strong. The academy programs are stronger, and therefore, and so maybe oil has more money in it than wheat has in Manitoba. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that goes, but that may be part of the cause. But yeah, the kids go out and try. They work hard, and I know that every almost every one of them, certainly every one of them is in graduation, has had calls and are being looked at seriously for college for next year for Division 1, 2, 3 USA, ACHA usually, some NCAA stuff, and then some Canadian colleges as well. So the players are finding opportunity, but the team, as a unit, doesn't do as well as we'd like.
And of course, you brought up the AAA program. That's been a league that has been around for a long time too, right? And has built
Yep.
itself up to a really strong place. And it
Yep.
seems like, yeah, AAA here in the prairies, it's pretty strong. I mean, SO Cup winner, last few years, we've seen it come from the Regina Rebels and the Saskatchewan Female U18
Yep.
AAA Hockey League. They're teams, I think, that have beat the Manitoba winners from their league in the West Regionals have at least been able to medal the last three seasons, right? So
Yep.
I think too the CSSHL maybe not starting off in Manitoba is also a reason why maybe we see this down the line too, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
Manitoba expanding in that area in terms of like there's not only Pilot Mound but RHA, Balmoral Hall, used to be St. Mary's Academy, but
I think
I
they're
think
coming back next year. It's in another life. I'm not sure just how, but there's another team going to be known as St. Mary's or something like that. Do you know much about that? I don't.
that's news to me, Gordy, but that'll be kind of exciting, a program like that getting rejuvenated again. But for Pilot Mound, of course, like you said, still a positive how there's people watching this team and liking what they see from some individuals on this team on the college recruitment side.
Well, sure. It's not just about hockey, and that's the really important thing here. It's about school, and the girls and the boys do really well at school. They work really hard. They're forced to because there's nothing else going on for them that to distract them. And we've got our finger on the pulse. The adults do, and the teachers do, and the coaching staff. kids can't fail. I mean, there's just too many things positive to force them to be really good at school, and that's very attractive to the colleges. They want good, smart people coming in there because they get them through the school and they get to feel good about how many graduates they have. They get paying graduates. There's some scholarships come to our kids. It's a win-win on the education side. So putting aside the hockey, which is the least important for the girls in particular, because there's less opportunity for them beyond high school. Um, it's a school thing, and it's very positive on behalf of Pilot Mound Collegiate Institute, the teachers, and all the programs that we put down there. It's a good program. Yep.
And I will add on to that it's not just Division One hockey, right? That's
Yep.
attractive in the girls' space. There's Division Two, Division Three.
Yep.
There's the U Sport League here down in Canada in terms of
Yep.
Canadian universities. So
Yep.
lots of opportunities to be able to go out and play. And heck, we even have a Manitoba Junior Women's Hockey League down here in
Yep.
Manitoba too, which is pretty cool in itself. But as for Pilot Mound, they'll be back in action for one game coming up tomorrow, as they'll be going down to Rink Training Center to take on RHA Winnipeg. Spoke about recruiting a bit already, Gordie, in terms of how this team is, or this program, of course, continues to try to bring in higher level female talent. I think it's a good time too at this point to maybe remind the viewers of some of the challenges, although not all negative, a lot of challenges positive in this world. But from the recruitment side, being in Pilot Mound, Manitoba, the challenges that we may be seeing this season.
Yeah, typically we're way out in the middle of freaking nowhere. I mean, 2 hours from Winnipeg, which seems like nowhere to people. Knox, I'm gonna hope that Knox is going to be going to waylay that a little bit because he's from Winnipeg and well known here, came out to our place. Hopefully, he'll have some good things to say in terms of what he's found. And so, more importantly than I can say, guys like him and other people that have come to us, and we have a whole whack of podcast people that have done this. We're trying to encourage more people to go to our podcast, very specific podcast. This one will be important to us for both boys and girls side. Girls are a little bit more fussy on the security side, the safety side. And we think we've got that one figured out big time because we're in a small place. Everybody knows everybody, and we're in a secure dorm with people on staff all the time, 24/7. That's a given. And yeah, so that's always seems to be a question. Schooling is important to the girls. They want to be sure that they get it. And again, that's a question that we answer every day. I think it's moreover that the better players kind of just bypass us uh, because we're not a big name. They don't get to us. They don't go online. Boys are a little bit more keen. We've got more boys teams, and so maybe they're a little bit more keen to look further afar, and go to places that may be a little bit different. And of course, we've had some huge success recently with Carson Carls and Hurst and those kinds of guys moving on, and so in a big way. So we're that may be more attractive to the boys, and of course the boys get they've got junior hockey right there, and it's not just school. So there's a lot of reasons, and I'm not sure that they're all valid or they're overblown or what they are, but whatever it is, we do have to make contact with more girls. I think that's a big deal here, is letting them know that we're here, what we're about, and that'll help us. You just throw more irons in the fire, you're going to get more back.
Good terminology to use, a good analogy there, Gordy, as yeah, I mean, like we've talked about already, there's so many different places to play in Manitoba too, and I think you bringing up security, that's something I think maybe gets forgotten about, right? And, just having that reliability, that security is huge, especially, if you're a kid, no matter who you are, male, female, maybe a
Yeah.
bit different, like you said, on the female side of things, but anything to remind our viewers about in terms of what's on tap next for Pilot Mound in terms of skills sessions. We've talked about the development programs that are going to be coming up, the recruitment camps, sorry, that'll be coming up during the springtime. But in terms of development camps, anything to note that's coming up in the next few weeks?
Yeah, we've got something on the 18th, I think, going on in one of the towns. We've got our game day. I'm just looking here. Evaluation camp, of course, is in March for the U15s, and then in April for the bigger guys. I've got a goalie coming up from Birmingham, Alabama. Oh, I should add, we signed Vojta Svoboda, U17 goalie from Czechia, who played last year in Austria, and he's one of the boys that the Czech U20 World Junior Hockey team is watching very carefully for as he grows up in another next year or two. We managed to secure him in Pilot Mound, so here's kind of a star guy coming to us, and he's going to help with promoting not only what's going on, but maybe other players coming along. His parents are very, very influential in Czechia. Mom's the women's national soccer team coach, and
Wow.
dad's very involved in soccer and hockey. So they're good people to know, and yeah, and so we're getting the sort of the family genes as well as we're getting the goalie kid. So bonus to us, speaks great English, smart guy, goes to international schooling. Yeah, they checked out Pilot Mound Collegiate. They love the place already. They haven't been there. They already love it because of the online and the custom programs that we can offer here to make sure the kids get the proper education wherever they're from. We got another guy coming up from Birmingham, Alabama, another U17 goalie tryout guy. So we're looking forward to lots of good opportunities from international kids, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, and lots of development in and around Pilot Mound through Dane Halstead and his development program.
Everything continuing to fall in place here for Pilot Mound as we continue along in the big 2026 is looking ahead to the 2026-2027 season, but also trying to stay present still in 2025-2026 as playoffs will be starting before we know it, Gordie. And before we know it, we'll be back on this podcast talking about how this past weekend of action went for the Buffs and previewing the next week, continuing to talk recruitment, development, all that great stuff.
Great. Thanks, Graham. It's always a pleasure, and looking forward to hearing the two boys you have on today.
Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast on this Friday afternoon. Next up, we're going to hear from Knox, Burton, as well as Adam Courchesne, as they'll talk about their experience with Pilot Mound so far, get into some specifics about their favorite meals and some different stuff like that. But yeah, overall asking them about what this experience has been like playing hockey at the academy, what the lifestyle's been like, and so much more. Coming up next on the Buffaloes podcast, Season 3, Episode 21. But first, a commercial break. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Two U18 male prep Buffaloes joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast, goaltender Adam Courchesne and forward in Knox Burton, who wears number 20 for the Buffaloes. Boys, you just had a huge trip down in Montreal, Quebec, coming away with some huge wins along the way. I mean, defeating number one Stansted College as the 13th seed. That's absolutely big time. Vibes, I assume, were pretty high down in Montreal this past weekend, eh?
Yeah, the boys were going. It was a good boost, good confidence booster down there for sure. It's cool going down east. Good time.
Yeah. What about from your experience, Adam, from the goaltending perspective?
Yeah, faced a lot of shots that game for sure, but yeah, it was a good, intense game. Glad we could come out with the win, but yeah, it was a ton of fun.
Is it fun facing that amount of shots every once in a while, as a goaltender, putting up the performance you were able to put up? I feel like that makes it even that much better, eh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's always good to stop that many pucks. You always want to stop every single shot. So always try my best to do that. But when you face that many shots, yeah, it's challenging. But yeah, it's good.
Oh, no doubt. Great goaltending, and then a huge performance from Knox in that matchup. And throughout this weekend, Knox, you lead this team in points this season by quite a bit. Able to come up big time in a big time game for your team this past weekend. Is that the type of scenario you like to play in the most when, this team is in front of a huge crowd and the games mean that much more?
Yeah, it gives you an extra pep in your step when the games mean something. And it's awesome to play for something like a tournament there. And it was playing that type of a team that's ranked so high, and you want to do everything you can to upset. So
For sure, and exactly what Pilot Mound was able to do this past weekend, coming away with two wins to open up that East-West challenge. But you spoke about meaningful games, playoffs coming up very soon. There's not m many more games for this team before that. With the amount of time this group is going to have off too, where does the mindset kind of shift at this point, getting ready for the final stretch of regular season games?
yeah, just trying to make the tier one. It's really our big focus right now. We have a big weekend in Calgary coming up. Hopefully, we can go 3-0 there. That's our main goal, and then finish off the season strong in Notre Dame and rink. It's a big push here for the end. We're on the outskirts, and we want to play for the Division 1 title. So that's our main goal, is making sure we're in that tier.
And obviously, a chance to be able to do that in the upcoming games for this team in the academy. And of course, both of you, of course, choosing Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy for, to continue your hockey development. I'll start off with you, Adam, coming from Calgary, Alberta, being a goaltender. What spoke to you about Pilot Mountain exactly that really stood out?
Yeah, I was at the Edge Academy for 4 years, so had a great time there, but then decided to part ways with the Edge, and yeah, just being away from home, learning lots of life lessons, kind of learning how to live by yourself, doing the things that mom and dad don't do for you back home, right? Kind of interested me, and yeah, that's why I kind of came out here. And obviously, our coaches that we have really like supported me, and they've been awesome. So that always helps when you have great coaches. So yeah, just that kind of sparked my decision to come out here, and yeah, just have really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, and a U18 program that has just been getting better and better throughout the years, the way this academy has been building it up. And I feel like a bit of a different type of vibe down in Pilot Mountain with the small town feel compared to the Edge, that being in Alberta. What's that adjustment been like in terms of one lifestyle to the other?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, being out in a small town compared to a city boy, it's been a bit of a change. Just in the big city, you don't really like. Not everyone knows you. You don't know everyone, but being in Pilot Mound, if you anything happens, there's the community's always there for you, always watching you at games. Where at the Edge, that wasn't really the case. But yeah, it's just been a really cool like setting just to be here in Pilot Mound. So yeah, I just really enjoyed that part of like being in the small town vibe, and yeah, it's been awesome.
And of course, really tight-knit community down in Pilot Mountain, Manitoba, as I'm sure you've grown accustomed
Yeah,
to so far this year. For yourself, Knox, you come from, I guess, the biggest city from this province, the capital in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Decided to take your talents to Pilot Mound. What went into that decision? With so many places to be able to play throughout the province, you landing on Pilot Mound as that next place.
yeah. Well, I spoke to Anthony last year a bit, and we just didn't making it work for me coming down here. But I know Asher Jingra and William Picklick, and they really influenced my decision on coming here. They said how good the coaching was, the development, the workouts.
how much on ice time you get. And yeah, so that, and I was advised to come here by agents and family. So it all worked out, and I'm super happy with my decision. Everything's been great so far. So no regrets.
Yeah, and you started off with the rink for the past few seasons, been able to be a significant point producer throughout your time there. And I mean, your season in Pilot Mound this year, everything else before that has led to you getting a few games played with the Selkirk Steelers in the MJHL. Going from the rink to Pilot Mound, what have you felt has kind of been maybe the biggest difference? Has it been the culture down in Pilot Mound or something else?
Yeah, the culture's been different. It's pretty cool at school. Everyone knows each other. It's a smaller school compared to the one in Winnipeg. So it's pretty cool. We've had the school come out and support us at games multiple times this season, as well as the town. So playing in front of a town and a school, it's cool to get play for someone like that. And then just living away from home too is it's been a big difference, but it's only going to help me in the future because next year I hope to play down in Seattle. So I want to get ready for living away from home, and it's definitely a big step. And this journey's helping me for sure.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, Seattle, and you end up going there next year, being able to just experience something different again and awesome in the world of hockey. For you, Adam, what would you say would be, I guess, kind of the goals outside of Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy where you're looking to get to next?
Yeah, obviously the WHL would be my next step, but if that doesn't work out, playing junior hockey somewhere, either it's in Alberta, BCHL, or so just still figuring out my options that way. But yeah, big decisions to make coming up here. So yeah,
And what's so great about, I think, the male side of the game specifically in North America is, if it's not the WHL, there's other high-end junior leagues you could go to, university or college, perhaps. The possibilities really kind of endless if you guys have the right stuff, right? And I mean, outside of hockey, there's obviously a lot of great stuff down in Pilot Mound in terms of the dorm life, the meals you guys get, of course, getting to bond with each other. I'll start off with you, Adam, and then Knox. You can answer the same question. But how's the food been like down in Pilot Mound, fellas? Has it been up to your guys' standards? I assume it has been eating some pretty good stuff along the way.
yeah, for sure. The food's been awesome. Like obviously we get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Obviously, some of the days it's maybe you don't like that food or whatever, but our cooks downstairs, they do an awesome job of preparing the meals for us and making sure we all get fed. So yeah, obviously we don't have like back home, you can't go to Tim Hortons, Subway, and that stuff. But
Right.
yeah, we always get fed really well. So yeah,
Favorite meal in particular for yourself, Adam?
I always like the mac and cheese and chicken fingers for lunch. That's always a favorite one that pops up. We always sometimes we get tacos too, which is a good one. But yeah, the mac and cheese and chicken fingers is always good.
Sounds so unreal. And I assume, of course, homemade mac, none of that store-bought stuff, right? I mean, these
Yeah.
chefs are high end, so right on. Yeah, I mean, love myself some mac and cheese, and I mean, the fact that you get to eat that and so much more is, I think that's awesome. For you, Knox, are you in agreement with Adam, or do you go a different route in terms of your favorite meal you've had there?
Yeah, no, the mac and cheese and chicken fingers is pretty nice to come back from school and see that sitting on the table. So, yeah, that's probably what I get most excited for when I see that after lunch. And then yeah, the food's good. It's it's unreal to be able to just go down at breakfast, lunch, dinner, be able to just go grab your food. It's always there for you when you need it. And then there's always snacks too. Like if you're hungry, no matter what time of the day it is, you could go down and make yourself some yogurt, some cereal, some oatmeal, no matter what it is. It's always provided for you.
Oh, right on. I mean, they give you guys all the tools you need meal wise, and then all the tools off ice to be able to improve too, right? Like the shooting bays, the gym, being able to put in as many reps as possible. Given that you both have experience, of course, playing academy hockey heading into this, how would you say that, I guess, Pilot Mound's facilities in that aspect is compared or maybe different to the Edge as well as RHA? I'll get Knox to start by answering this.
Yeah, well, obviously it's a small town, so everything's right at your fingertips. You could go to the rink and go to the shooting bay and the gym whenever you want. Compared to when you're in Winnipeg and you live 20 minutes from the facility, it's more when you're during the day, when you're with the academy. But here, I could, right after the Zoom meeting, I could go on the ice if I want to. So that's obviously amazing having that right at your fingertips, being able to do like put in the work at all hours of the day compared to having only a certain time frame to do it.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like, yeah, that's uh, makes some sense to me. Being in Winnipeg, obviously, you need to be able to maybe travel a bit further, but it's all pretty much at your fingertips down in Pilot Mound, right? Adam, from a goaltender's perspective, how would you, I guess maybe not rate, but how would you describe and talk about the experience in terms of all the stuff that you've been able to use to your advantage in training this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is having the gym and everything just right downstairs. You walk down 2 flights of stairs and you're in the gym. Just being able to go down there, whatever, roll out, use the lacrosse balls to roll out, and just kind of using that area to for whatever it is, recovery. If you got a bad back, bad shoulder, just getting like strength back into it. So just kind of recovery side of things, but also getting stronger, bigger, better, right? So I think that's a huge aspect.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, great to know, like you boys have said, it's really a walk away to be able to use these facilities and things like that. You guys just came back from a big trip in Montreal. There's been a bunch of different places you boys have traveled to this year. From that standpoint, has it been maybe the coolest trip you guys have taken this year, or is there another moment that comes into mind?
Yeah, I've never been that far east, so it's definitely cool to see the architecture and just they speak a different language on there. So
Yeah.
it, it was cool to see that part of things go somewhere else in Canada compared to out west.
What about for you, Adam?
Yeah, I was in Montreal, I think, when I was 11 years old, so I don't remember it much, but obviously it was an awesome experience. Just being able, we went and traveled downtown or whatever, got to experience that, but just kind of seeing the difference between the West and the East and playing in those games. Obviously, the host or whatever, they put on a great production there, so that was awesome too. But yeah, it was just a ton of fun, just being able to play somewhere else and seeing our the other side of Canadian culture as well was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, most times you guys have traveled, it's been usually a place like Alberta or BC or somewhere down south, right? I've been to Montreal once. It was like for a grade 9 or 10 school trip, and it's actually how crazy different it looks compared to, I mean, the prairies kind of felt like I was in Europe, even though I've never been to Europe with how the architecture is down there and stuff. But I mean, so many memories made this season already. The year's not even done yet. And I mean, for this group, seems like this is a very tight-knit group this year. Speak about what that has been like, the room, the camaraderie, all that great stuff for this team this year that, continues to get better.
Yeah, obviously we've had some big ups and downs. We had some huge wins this year against Edge, Knox. We beat OH Edmonton and took CIHA to overtime. So obviously that was huge for this academy. And just being able to be with your buddies every single day is obviously a huge privilege. And being able to just bond with everyone, you become such good buddies. I mean, you see them every day, so right. It's
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a lot, but yeah, it's been awesome. Just building that kind of culture is nothing compared to any other academy, right? So I think that's what we have on some of the other academies is just being able to spend that time with each other every single day and just not even spending the time, but putting in the work and pushing each other every day has been a huge part to our success this year.
Would you agree with that, Knox, or
Yeah,
add on?
like Adam said, we live with a team, so we're with each other at all times of the day. So we've had a lot of time to bond and get to know each other, and I think we know each other more on just a hockey level. We know each other as family, like we're brothers. So it's being able to push each other in the gym on the ice all times of the day. It's cool. It's definitely something special.
One of the key things of a team that has success come playoff time is having that special bond, right? And with the team hoping to go far, maybe make it into tier one this year, definitely set up for success in that regard. But before you guys take on RHA as well as Notre Dame, game coming up. I guess three games coming up in an upcoming tournament, not this weekend, but the next weekend in Calgary, Alberta, with I guess valuable points on the line going up against, CSSHL teams. This team looking to lock in. How would you say this Buffalo's team goes about the preparation, especially with a bit more time off?
I think we just had a great weekend in Montreal, so I think we just have to ride the momentum off that, and just I think this next week of practices is huge going into Calgary. I think the good practices will lead to success in the game, so I think as a team we'll be dialed in this week, and then I think that'll help us really succeed this coming weekend in Calgary.
Right on. And I'm not sure how many games you'll be starting in, Adam, but from a goaltender's perspective, how are you getting yourself set for this upcoming weekend battle?
Yeah, obviously just getting the proper sleep, rest, just kind of making sure your body's ready to go. And yeah, just even in practice, just the little details, things you can clean up at all times, not from a goalie standpoint, from also a team standpoint. We focus on that lots, just our little details in the D zone, O zone, just kind of focusing on that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been focusing on, just personally and as a team collectively.
Well, the little details came through big time almost all the games this past weekend for this group down in Montreal, Quebec, as Pilot Mound went 2-2, pulled off a big upset along the way, and continuing to look to make noise as the season comes to an end, trying to get into that tier one playoff type of position. Knox, Burton, and Adam Courchesne joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Boys, thanks for taking the time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Knox, Burton, and Adam Courchesne joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. What a weekend for the Buffs, going out and defeating Stansted College it was a close game, but Pilot Mound able to come out with the upset victory as they were the 13th seed and Stansted the 1 seed. So huge for the brand, huge for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, and a huge weekend for Knox. We'll get into that a bit more coming up after this next commercial break, as we'll throw to a Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia commercial break, and we'll be right back. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Welcome back to this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Just got done talking to Knox, Burton, a Winnipeg product, and then a Calgary, Alberta product, and Adam Courchesne, who the Buffaloes, they just got off a weekend where they were in Montreal, Quebec. The U18 male prep program was talked about, and yeah, came away with a 2-2 record. Knox, Burton tied 5th for total points with 2 points per game average over the weekend, as he had 8 points in 4 games played, 3 goals, 5 assists, as he leads all Buffs players in points in not only CSSHL play, but in tournament slash exhibition play as well this season. So great season for Knox, and of course he has hopes to continue his junior career, or continue his hockey career into junior coming up. Same with Adam, as it was great to be able to talk to them, as they are going to get the weekend off before they're back into action on February 20th, as they'll be taking on Yale Hockey Academy, as well as Pacific Coast Hockey Academy and North Shore, the Warriors. So North Shore Hockey Academy as well. But before we get into just recapping the upcoming schedule of games, for February, coming up on the 20th, it's going to be a specific skills position night, as on the 20th they're going to be working on some angling, and that's going to go from 5:30 to 6:30, and also forward position, or position-specific stuff for forwards as well. $40 for a single session. Be sure to check out pilotmoundhockeyacademy.com for all the details. As for this weekend of action, the U15 male preps, they're going to be quite busy as they head out to Thunder Bay, Ontario to take on, well, some teams from the States. Different competition for them coming up in, well, what could possibly be a key tournament for them. They can build some confidence heading back into league play, as playoffs are coming up very soon. So Buffalo's looking to stay competitive this weekend in Thunder Bay, Ontario. You can catch it on Live Barn if you have a subscription. As for Flow Hockey, that'll be the home for RHA and Pilot Mound, the U17s, taking on each other tomorrow afternoon at the Rink Training Center in Oak Bluff, Manitoba. Just outside Winnipeg, Manitoba, as Pilot Mound looks to come away with the bragging rights in this one in an all-Manitoba matchup. As for the female U18 prep Buffaloes, they'll be taking on RHA Winnipeg, as well as they're looking for any positives they can here this weekend, coming up with playoffs on the horizon. The Buffaloes looking to shock RHA Winnipeg coming up. That game actually already happened, so we can actually get into that right away for you to let you know how it went. As, by the way, all these scores, like Gordie said, can be found on PM Buffaloes. That's their name throughout social media. You can check them out there for all the scores, real-time scores, which they haven't posted any yet, so I'm just going to go to the CSSHL's website here quickly to take a look. But great action still coming up. I mean, for the U15 male preps, they're going to be, like I said, taking on a whole whack of teams, and then still one more game to come for the male U17 preps. It's a bit of a more quiet weekend for the Buffaloes, but things are about to get a whole lot more busy here shortly. Apologies, folks. We'll get to the scoring right away. But if you missed it, you can check it out on Flow Hockey. As almost there. Well, a 9-4 loss for Pilot Mound, and hey, I mean, I just talked about how you got to try to find as many positives as possible, and I think a positive for them after being shut out in back-to-back games, losing 7-0 to Saha and then 8-0 to Edge School, to be able to put up 4 goals against a rival like Rink Hockey Academy Winnipeg, a team that, of course, is a team with a lot of talent. Even though you give up 9, at least you're able to see that offense come through a bit, as the Buffs were able to put up 4 goals. We'll talk about that and much more with Gordie Tumilson coming up next week. Can't wait to see who the guests are going to be for next week's episode. We haven't determined that as of yet, but once we do, well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great content for you guys to see next week. Buffaloes Nation, as we're going to be getting into episode 22, season 3. We're going to start releasing our podcast release times on our main website once again on gshow.ca. But if you just follow along through YouTube specifically, be sure to consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future episodes, much like this one and anything else we produce here on G Show Productions, because we're much more than just a partner of Pilot Mound. We also run podcasts in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League, and the Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League, which playoffs and the MFHL are starting soon. Winnipeg High School Hockey League playoffs have already started, and all three divisions are going to be rolling this week coming up. And then, of course, for the CSSHL, playoff time is nearing for them and all four teams in the academy. Can't wait to see how the playoff season goes, but we got a lot more to break down before that, and in the next episode we will continue to do that. Thank you to Knox, Burton, Adam Courchesne, and of course, as always, Gordie Tumilson for coming on and being the guest in this week's episode. And yeah, thank you to you for watching, to the viewer, and to our sponsors in Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Elite Prospects, Terrico, Goaltenders, and Movement Fitness and Performance, along with Pilot Mound's sponsors and partners, which, as always, we're proud to be a part of their partners this year, being considered one of those. But as for myself, Graham Forsyth, this is going to do it. Peacing out and waving so long, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend coming up. Enjoy all the great Buffaloes action coming your way. Enjoy the Olympics, too, if you've been following hockey. I know Canada up currently 2-1 last time I checked. So, yeah, hoping that their female team can also, the women's team can get to gold, and probably going to face off against USA again. It would be sweet to get revenge there. But that's enough of me rambling and babbling here. Tyson Unruh, Juno Award winner, is going to send us off, as always, with his March of the Buffalo theme. Take care, everybody.